a brand new episode of Sequel Rights, the podcast where we take a look at the franchises that make you go, they made how many of those? And we give each and every sequel a fair trial. My name is Justin Camps, and I'm here with...
Elizabeth Helly.
And...
Tyler Hymanson.
And we are on the last film of An American Tail. We'll be talking about American Tail, The Mystery of the Night Monster. Film 4. You guys ready to dive in?
Oh yeah, let's find this night monster.
All right, we're going on a hunt for the night monster right now.
Fievel's back. And he's made some new friends, including newspaper reporter Nellie Bree.
That's my byline. You're fearless. No, Fievel. Only fools are fearless.
They're on the case of the Manhattan Night Monster.
Let's you and I go shed a little light on this monster.
Now, Fievel must set out to find his courage.
I've never been so scared my whole life.
And face his fears.
Run him down!
As he leads the way through his most exciting adventure yet. Filled with songs.
Everyone's afraid at times, but if you use your wits, you'll find what once was scary is really very ordinary.
Really? Really.
Featuring Fievel, Tanya,
Things could not get any worse.
Tiger.
Okay. So, what'd you guys think of this movie?
I think
Let's get right to it.
The first thing that I kind of noticed is that, weirdly, in, the first 10 minutes, it has, a commercial break type, fade out type thing.
Oh, yeah, there was a part where it, went, boom!
And so, but there was
with a circle,
That was overall a way pared down animation style, and it almost felt, we said this before, that it felt like Saturday morning cartoonish. This very, very much felt that. But I actually don't think it was that big of a detriment to the movie this time around.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let's just give everybody a little bit of background. This is, again, directed by the same exact guy as the last film. Mm-hmm. And it's the same type of Saturday morning
Same
cartoon.
music. But the animation did actually seem to get worse even from the third film.
Yes.
So, yeah. Oh, we should also say this is the fourth and final.
Yes.
So far.
Yeah. I mean, this one came out in 1999, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Straight to DVD. Or VHS, whichever one it was.
I really think,
Probably
did it originally come out only in Germany?
Yeah, that's what it said. It was originally released in Germany. I don't know why. And then it was released in 2000 in America.
Okay.
Where it takes place. So, at the beginning of this movie, we are back in New York.
Yeah, Fievel Goes West, still just a dream.
Still just a dream.
And speaking of dreams, Fievel is in the middle of one crazy drug trip right at the beginning of this movie.
It's fucking nuts.
Satan Cat is chasing him in the dream, and it is
the gates of hell open up on the floor, and this crazy fire demon.
It's one of the things where they can't afford crazy backgrounds, so they just started using these abstract colors, these kind of Steve Ditko matte paintings in the back.
Yeah,
and because of it, I don't think it was by design. It makes it way more creepier. It looks like a Ralph Bakshi nightmare.
It was pretty creepy, actually.
Yeah.
It's this cat monster that's made out of electrical fire, and then he has a mouse trap at the tip of his tongue.
Yeah,
and I was like, ooh, little weird.
That's what a mouse nightmare would look like.
Yeah, we get a little peek into what his Fievel Goes West dream might have looked like in the previous film. So he kind of wakes up from that and is freaking out, and we learn pretty quickly that there's this night monster, and there's a mystery around what it is.
Yeah. They make a point to say, it's certainly not cats, because...
We've built a wall, you guys!
Yes.
We built a wall. Cats cannot ever enter here.
So since
without a passport.
Since the end of the third movie, they've built a mouse colony with a big wall around it. Papa, I don't think, is working at the factory any longer. He's no longer a labor leader, from what they've said.
Yeah, I would actually like to put forth an interpretation that this film also retcons a previous film, and the previous film didn't happen either.
I agree.
So this is after the first film, you think?
No, I'm just saying, what was the last one even called? I can't.
Manhattan Island.
Yeah, the Treasure of Manhattan Island.
Yep.
Like that film deleted the events of Fievel Goes West, I think that this film deletes the events of Manhattan Island.
I
Because
absolutely agree.
right in the beginning, Papa is reading the Daily Nibbler, which is what their newspaper is called, I guess. And he goes off about this story by Nellie Bree, who's like one of the main characters in the film. And it sounds awfully similar to what happened in the previous film.
Oh, really?
Where she goes in,
Totally missed
she's
that.
like, did you hear or he says, did you read her story about the horrible working conditions in that clothing factory? The mice there were working without food or anything, and she went in there and broke it up and everything. And I know that this isn't obviously like the exact same as the exact same thing as him going, Fievel going, I had a dream about the West. But it kind of is so similar that I'm like...
It's that, but it's not a wink. But, like, in my mind, I was just like, oh, just give it a rest, dude.
You're right. It's totally
Also,
not. It's not. Okay.
Also, there's so many things that, like, don't follow continuity from the previous film. Tiger's not the sheriff. There's a wall. There's no mention of, They mentioned in that article, too, that they kicked out the rats that owned the factory. So it's like the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
I don't think that that's why they said that, but I can see why you would say that. But so Nellie Bree is based on the famous journalist Nellie Bly, who is super, like, a big deal in the history of journalism and U.S. history. She went undercover in factories and the asylums of the day, and also did like a around the world in 80 days type thing, and exposed the horrible working conditions and brought about that change. And so that's what she's based on,
right?
Which I was very excited about. But the whole reason that they're even talking about this chick is because Tanya apparently has a job now at the newspaper. I think they're all older. They're a little older. I think Tanya's obviously older. Fievel kind of looks the same, but the baby also looks older. So I don't know why she can have a child job, but let's say it's an internship, maybe.
I mean, no one's character has changed more over the course of these movies than Tanya.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't know, like fucking whatever she needs to be for the plot. Like
last movie, she was like an annoyance. Now she's like
she was a singer. It was like there's like
it's always changing.
Disheartening.
So Tony got her a job at the newspaper. He's like a newsboy, but she's like, for some reason, interning for the chief, and she's in love with him.
She's interning for Read Daily, the newspaper chief.
Oh, wait, okay. I didn't catch that at all.
I was like, first of all, his name. She says like, "Oh, Mr. Daly," and it's called the Daily Nibbler, even though like the name just spelled differently.
Right.
But still,
his name is Reed
And then
Daly.
later on in the movie, they're like, "His name is Reed Daly."
So yeah, after Nellie Bly
God
being a reference to an actual person, I was like, oh wait, who is this a real reference to? And I started thinking about, and then I'm like, oh wait, no, it's just Reed Daly.
J. Jonah Jameson?
Yeah.
not even that, really.
I wanted it to be like a Pulitzer or Hearst reference, but it was not.
Yeah. So yeah, Tanya's got a job, and she is forced to take Fievel there for some reason.
Like, it's the most, like, ham-fisted, like,
so weird.
because the plot wants it to.
Yeah.
Like, Mama is like, oh, you need to take Fievel to work today. And Tanya's like, no, like, I can't. Like, it's my job.
It's a real job.
Yeah, and then she's like, but who got you the job? Tony. And he's like, and whose friend's Tony? Fievel. Then, okay then. You gotta take him to the newspaper.
Yeah, pretty much.
Take your little brother to work day for
That's
Tanya.
totally a thing.
And everyone's freaking out about this night monster.
Well, Nellie is like, everyone's freaking out about it. Nellie's like, that's fake news. Like, let's do the real stories.
Yeah.
And but
even though she was also investigating something that turned out to not be true.
Right.
But she tried. She tried.
But Reed's all, going Hearst and being like, no, it sells the papers. Like, we need the night monster.
Can we rewind for a second about this wall they built?
Yeah, no, it's insane. Like, so yeah, like when they have to get into town, like they go through and this kind of crazy adventure with Fievel and Tanya, and they get to like this Berlin Wall like check center, and the guy's like, "Oh, well, like I have to inform you that we're in a state of emergency."
Yeah, he's like pursuant to authority 3, 4, 5, 6,
and then just like, has all these different like bureaucratic stamps, and it's like, oh shit,
They need like a passport just to go
they had a
outside.
passport.
It was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was pretty crazy. And then it turned out that Nellie was like the gate operator for some reason. Because she was investigating
undercover. Yeah, based on the real Nellie Bly. But so Tony comes and he's trying to become a reporter instead of just a newsboy, and so he shares that one of in Mice Chinatown there's been an attack by the night monster, and Reed Daly's suggested headline, and I wrote this down because he wants the headline to be "Fortune cookie crumbles for Chinese mouse," and then I think
when it cuts there, it's like a.
Yeah,
I think that happens.
But thankfully, Nellie is like, absolutely not. They go and investigate.
I mean, to be fair, it is like it's something that I'm shocked that they carried it over through all the movies. That the human world is still present in these things, and so Mouse Chinatown, just like the Mouse Library and the Mouse Newspaper Office, is underneath real people Chinatown.
Yeah,
it's like humans have a Chinatown, although the character designs.
Yeah, the mice also talk like real racist Chinese characters.
Horrific. Like, I was totally down with the movie and then we get to this scene with the racist mice, and I'm just like, oh my god, like they have slanty eyes and they speak broken English.
Yeah, I was like, I'm hearing lots of R's for L's.
Yeah, it's so overboard, but
it is crazy though. I mean, like it's something that all of these movies have had some form of racial insensitivity.
Yeah.
Where the first movie with the No Cats in America song, where it's just like, stereotypes are fun, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's get this Italian song happening. But I didn't realize that this was the same director as the last one, but as soon as they started talking about journalistic integrity within the first 8 minutes of this children's movie, I was like, well, this has to be the same lefty bastard who wrote the last one.
Yeah. I was so
It's not quite as overhanded as...
but I was just like, shit, like, now we're talking about this, I guess.
Yeah, I was really excited, but we have skipped over. They sang the first song at the 16-minute mark, which is a song about getting the facts and having journalistic integrity.
Which I think is the best song in the film.
It was an amazing song. I mean...
I thought it was actually kind of good. I was like, oh, okay, well...
I was surprised that I was like, oh, like this...
Still a musical?
Better song. The last one had one song, right?
Yeah,
it had 3 songs.
3 or 4,
But this one, like...
Did it?
Yeah. This one, like, the vocals sounded like they were better recorded than the previous film, and I did kind of like... I was, like, watching the movie... And it was so far in, like you said, 16 minutes.
Yeah.
I was, like, when it started happening, I was like, oh, wow, okay, it's still a musical. I was kind of thinking it wasn't going to be a musical.
The one thing I did think of when the music, the backing came in behind it, I started, was GarageBand out in 1999? Because this kind of sounds like they did this in GarageBand.
Yeah, it wasn't, like, overly orchestral, but at least the singing was good.
Yes.
And I thought the lyrics were really clever. It had a lot of journalism puns and things that were kind of clever wordplay.
I think if it had the budget and they got the full orchestration, it would be a fantastic song.
Yeah. Okay, so we got that song, Racist Mice, and then we are introduced to...
Racist Mice.
We're introduced to our villain.
Is this the only one that doesn't have Native American jokes in it? I think that it might be.
Yeah, it replaces them with the Chinese jokes.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, but at least the Chinese mice kind of, like, are there and then they go away. But you get to go...
Yeah, just sweep those poor attacked immigrants under the rug.
I was like, at least they're not, like, throughout the film being, like...
Yeah.
Whatever they were saying. I don't even want to repeat it.
It was
but, like, at least, we go to the scene in Chinatown and we learn that, like, there is something actually happening because there's this huge hole in the ground and, like, her husband got taken.
Her husband is gone. The Mr. Chinese Mouse is gone.
Yeah.
So we meet who will eventually become our villain, this poodle that kind of looks like a rat with a piece of coral on its head, but it's apparently a poodle. Named Madame Mousset.
Yeah,
I
couldn't understand what they were saying until later on in the film. I kept going like, she's a poodle.
I had the captions on, so...
smart.
She is basically driving up scare tactics, doing fake fortune-telling stuff, selling fake monster repellent.
Yeah, she shows up at every attack.
Yeah, and goes like, buy my monster pouches.
Yeah. It's...
something like
pretty heinous.
Yeah. So, yeah, we kind of just meet her, and then Nellie Bree is antagonizing her, and so she considers her an enemy from there on.
I was going to say that Nellie Bree is my favorite new character in this film.
Absolutely.
Because she's so, like, no nonsense, and everyone's like, I'm scared of the monster, and she's like, oh... Poppycock. Don't think about that.
We did leave out the part where, to investigate this murder, Reed Daly says, "Hey, bring that 8-year-old with you because Fivel had drawn a doodle."
Yeah.
Inside, and so like he's there to be like the sketch, like the criminal sketch artist,
Rembrandt.
He starts getting like overworked, and yet they're still like send him out with the reporter.
It's like
his shitty sketches get published in the newspaper. He draws like a 3-headed hydra, and like they print it in the paper.
It's another vehicle for racism because
It
all
totally
this,
is.
like we'll get to what he draws later.
Oh yeah.
But the reason that he wanted to get to the newspaper in the first place is because he wanted to talk to Nellie about his dream.
Well, so that her courage would make him be like not afraid.
He couldn't sleep. He kept waking up the family, and so Mama was like, "Hey, go ask the reporter directly if it's true or not." So I don't know. Yeah, I wish we could all do that.
And the movie needed to keep him tired so that he would keep having nightmares. That's what was happening. Because he keeps having these like horrible flashbacks. Every time someone was like, the monster looked like this, it's like, oh no!
There's another. After they meet the villain, he's got another dream nightmare. Like it's a montage of his nightmares, and then of him going to all the crime scenes.
Animation's expensive,
and
gotta reuse that.
They basically Fievel's dream parodies like this really famous Battleship Potemkin, Steps of Odessa with the pram or the stroller going down the steps, and I was like, I cannot believe they're doing this right now. And so he dreams that Yasha is like going down.
Wait, you can't believe that? Again, I'm gonna say it. The lefty bastard who made the children's movie about workers' rights and journalistic integrity didn't go to film school. Like, absolutely did.
That's true. But it's just hilarious that of all things, because all of that, communist uprising, workers' rights stuff, that was the last movie. But they're like, oh, let's put it in the stroller.
It's funny how that's like it happens in 1999, right? Like The Simpsons did that bit like a decade before that.
Sure, yeah.
So it's not like
let's do it in a child's film.
Yeah, let's do it. It's not like you're treading new ground or doing anything interesting.
But and then he wakes up from that dream, having fallen asleep in a bowl of soup.
Yeah.
Which you could die.
Yeah. I wonder if Leon would think that you would drown in that.
Leon would absolutely think that he'd think you'd survive. Yeah. But Papa Moskowitz is like so nonplussed by it. He's like, you fell asleep in your soup. Like, so he's like,
Mama was like, he could have drowned, and Papa was like, it was a shallow bowl. I loved that line.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. Pretty messed up.
So they continue to go to different crime scenes. We've got a Scottish store owner, and all of his things are about
What do you guys think his name was?
Mr. Haggis.
Mickey Mouse.
Mr. Haggis.
And he was actually voiced by the same guy doing a Scottish accent that was the Scottish accented police chief in the third movie.
Oh.
So,
the
one
who cracked heads?
Yes, that guy.
The Italian mouse was called Mr. Noodles, and
so
the British mouse was called Mr. Crumpet or something. Okay.
At some point...
That's basically how they're naming mice now. Yeah.
Tony and Nellie and Fievel and everybody get together to discuss all the evidence they've compiled, and we see all of Fievel's drawings of the different crime scenes. And Reed Daly is like, they're all different, this is crap. And Nellie points out, no, actually, he just drew what the people told him.
He just drew several different types of racial stereotypes.
So like the Chinese person described a dragon, and the Scottish guy described Loch Ness Monster, and the Greek people described a Hydra, and I don't know how many
I wrote that down too. I was like, Mr. Haggis was referencing the Loch Ness Monster within like 5 seconds of opening his mouth.
I mean, to be fair,
pretty messed up. Okay.
To be fair, if an American tale has always been an immigrant's tale, and they're wanting to show the melting pot and doing these things, and so they keep that theme consistent across all of them. I appreciate that, but you think they would have gotten better at it at this point?
Yeah,
it's just you're like, I know, heavy-handed stereotypes.
Yeah,
Mr. Haggis, the Scottish mouse.
We gotta. So Nellie and Fievel decide to continue investigating, but we get a cut to the villain. Sort of, we're gonna exposition. We're gonna reveal our plot, and this poodle, Madame Mousse, sings a song with all these cats that she's apparently controlling.
And of course, it's a tango because it's an evil song, so
But
it needs
she's
to be a
French.
tango.
And
Yeah.
it's very strange because some of the very important points of the song are in French and never translated.
I couldn't
So,
tell
like,
what she was saying,
Yeah.
honestly.
I watched it with subtitles. So the song is called The Creature de la Nuit, which is, the
Yeah,
creature
which
of
is
the
what I
night.
couldn't understand
But
what she was
why would
saying.
any kids understand that means of the night?
Because Muzzy.
Huh?
You guys didn't have those Muzzy tapes?
No, I don't know. I don't even know what you're talking
It
about.
was like a commercial like on Nickelodeon, and it was like buy these $200 VHS tapes for like they'll teach your kids like French,
Oh.
and it was like an educational like English French language. Never mind. All right, that wasn't universal.
Like, yeah, I watched Nickelodeon. I don't remember that. I don't
Yeah.
know.
We had them
Anyway.
Does it line up with the timeline, though?
with Muzzy.
No, with the American Tail timeline. When did those tapes come out? I need to know. Would the children understand because of Muzzy?
So it's like the main hook of the song is not in English and not really a what are the words? It's not a cognate either. So how would you know that means of the night? But
It was
anyway,
just like generic, I'm a bad guy song.
and basically she's getting across the fact that she's controlling these cats.
Right.
So
And her
the plan,
her plan is to kidnap all the mice. It's basically like
Well, we learn the full scope of the plan not till later in the movie, I feel.
Okay.
we just might as well talk
When
about it.
well, I know, I'm just saying, like I was like, okay, she's helping the cats get through the wall, but then you learn that they're gonna keep all the mice to sell them as food to the other cats.
Yeah, which is
and the only thing she gets out of it, I guess, is selling.
she doesn't
her.
like mice. Yeah,
the whole plot.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
a human trafficking plot.
Yeah.
where they it's,
But she
it's super
sells her
dark.
pouches or whatever.
yeah.
So-
by the way, she calls her plan the ultimate solution.
I know!
which is just I was like the final solution.
Yeah, I was
it was ooh.
She's like, all thanks to my ultimate solution.
We noticed that she was on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mouse say.
So then her plan
Mousy?
is to get Tony to give Nellie a fake tip, and then she's going to kill Nellie. It does not work because then Tony, he does give her the fake tip, but then he saves them by crashing a chandelier on top of
Tony
the
didn't know it was a
machine.
fake tip, right?
No, he didn't know.
Yeah.
No, he just wanted to go
Because
along.
Tony's whole shtick in this is I'm a newsie, I hear things on the street, like
yeah,
He's carrying the banner.
yeah.
So
yeah.
they
so
go
we,
to some old house and they get attacked by the machine,
Right.
and then Tony saves them by dropping the chandelier like the
we
Phantom
finally
of
get
the
to see
Opera.
what is going on with this monster. It's some sort of crazy spinning thing that has this LED cat face on
It's
it.
kind of like the secret weapon. It's,
Yeah,
it's
except
a little bit
a lot
more-
worse.
Yeah.
What is the thing that spins in the
It's
picture?
just a light
Oh,
that shines.
It's called it was in one of those
Oh,
horror
yeah,
movies
yeah.
that we saw too. It's you look into it
And they have them
it
at
spins.
Disneyland.
What is the
too,
official-
Yeah. I tried to look it up and I couldn't remember.
It's like a zoetrope.
So,
Oh yeah.
that's what-
It's
yeah.
got a zoetrope on the top, and then it's got circular
Thanks,
saws.
Coppola.
Got it.
It has circular saws for hands, which is a little bit terrifying. So yeah, then
but it looks like a really chintzy version of the secret weapon.
Yes.
as far as animation goes.
There's no 3D to it. And it's
Yeah.
It's at a point where 3D was much more
It's
available.
essentially a
and-
cart. It's
yeah,
a cart
and
that they
animation.
push. The big cat pushes, and the other cats move levers, I guess, to control the saws. I don't know.
yeah,
Pretty stupid.
So I'm not sure why, but I forget why. But Nellie and them decide to go enlist the help of the dogs to find out if they have any information. Oh, I guess because she's a poodle. So they're like, let's
And
go ask the
dogs
dog
are
council.
the dog is the council is just
The Dog High Council.
The Dog High Council,
Which I love.
who of course meet in Central Park.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
was
one of
like-
her source is named Lone Wolf.
Yeah. I was like, when they get to this part, I was like, oh shit, they're expanding the mythology like John Wick style in the final film. They're like, we have to go consult with the Dog High Council. I have an in there.
Lone Wolf.
So
I love Lone Wolf.
This is a complete
Wolf.
aside. So Lone
Okay.
Wolf, there's a Lone Wolf McQuade movie. It's a Chuck Norris movie, I believe, if I'm thinking of it correctly. And in this movie, he has a Bronco that gets buried in a sand quarry, and he's knocked out. And so this is the only thing. As soon as I heard Lone Wolf, this is the only thing I was thinking. And so Chuck Norris is buried alive. And he wakes up and he has a 6-pack of beer in his center console, pours it all over himself and drinks it, and then just starts gunning it and then drives out of the sand.
What?
So
Oh god.
anyway, that's what I was thinking about during this.
I love I was like, he said, "My name is Lone Wolf," and he says it like that, so that like I was listening. I'm like, did he? I think he said "woof," but like I'm gonna listen again and make sure it's not Lone Wolf because he looks like a wolf.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he has a very Batman-y look.
His voice was awesome.
Wolf. Yeah,
I wrote down. He's like, the Dog High Council has no interest in the problems of other species.
That's like a Mass Effect subplot.
This guy, he's awesome.
So he doesn't want to help them, and so to change his mind, they sing
the worst song ever written.
It sounds like a reject, like something that somebody wrote for We Are the World, and that they were like, no, this one sucks, and so they instead used it for this.
I wish I could remember the melody, but like the lyrics were so terrible. They're like, the very first lyric is, "If you don't lend a hand when a hand needs lending, who will?" And then
it's a lot of
want to see my hand where my hand be at.
I was like, yeah.
It's a lot of who will, and then at the end they all go, "I will." Like, it's just so ridiculous. Stupid. But it's very, like, it does sound like kind of like a celebrity telethon song because they all kind of switch and everybody joins in.
But the lyrics were all like, if you don't take a shit when a shit needs taking, who will? If you don't watch a sequel when a sequel needs watching, who will?
We will.
I mean, it was like, just like the most basic lyrics.
It was like the Stonecutters song from The Simpsons, but not funny.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, yeah, even Tiger, who had fainted from seeing a dog,
I thought that was hilarious.
He woke up to start singing in the song, yeah.
I didn't notice.
Yeah, and then he later is like, I don't remember meeting any dogs.
John DeLuise still hanging in strong there.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he was barely in the movie.
Doesn't it make you
back.
sad? It makes me sad.
That he was still doing it. Yeah, I know.
So, Lone Wolf is so moved by the song, he gives them like an obtuse
He says,
clue.
I wrote down this one too. He says, "Even in the darkest night, you can always find a sign if you know where to look."
And he says, like, you can look. He tells them that a sign will come from above. And I loved it because Nellie Brie then says, "I don't need a lesson in theology. I need a clue." But then Fievel looks up and sees that there's a lost dog poster with a picture of the stupid poodle. Which he then draws on to make sure that it's really the same poodle. Like, he draws the hair of the poodle they've seen. So, like, he takes important evidence, draws on it to make sure that it's the same poodle. So we basically find out that this poodle was the poodle of the city planner, and that's why she had access to sewer maps, which allowed the cats to go into the wall.
Boo!
And then she ran away from her owner and then tried to join the dogs in Central Park, and they were like, "You're just a lapdog, get out of here." And then and then she went and took over the cats in the sewers. That's pretty much what happened. And we're supposed to be like...
The reason that she hates mice and rats is because people have always compared her to mice and rats, which is like...
Her name is Mousy.
So silly. I don't even know.
Well, you want to get some body shaming in there with your racism.
That's true. And so, this whole time Tanya has been, like, fawning over her boss. But it's only at this point that we, like, start to realize that, like, Reed and Nellie are in love, but, like, Reed is super mean to Nellie all the time, and it's just...
That's how he shows affection.
Yeah.
In that classic 1950s way.
Yeah.
And then Fievel has no idea what's going on.
Yeah, Fievel's like, "Why is he so mean to you?" And she's like, "Oh, you know." And he's like, "No, I don't know." And it just cuts to another scene.
It's me, Fievel, and I'm the dumbest I've been in any of the movies.
Yeah.
So,
until the end of the film where he's like crazy badass.
Oh, my other favorite line from Reed is when they're making the newspaper to expose the poodle. The headline is something like, "Evil poodle seersuckers us all."
I don't know if you guys heard this too. He also mentioned that he was a field correspondent during the Civil War.
I did not catch that.
And I was like, now, is he referencing the American Civil War or some sort of mouse Civil War?
I mean, we're probably following each army? Or?
I was like, are they aware of the human political events?
So it would have been 1908?
Yeah, I don't know. The first film took place in 1885. So this one was...
So probably like... I mean, it could also be 1885.
Yeah, that's true. I was like, do mice live that long?
I'm certain that they don't.
From 1865 or whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty hilarious.
why didn't we get Fievel Goes South and discovers the Civil War?
Yeah, he could have been in the Civil War. Well,
Everybody-
they would have had to go back in time, I guess.
Make that Kickstarter. Now's your chance.
Fievel Goes South.
Fievel
Although
goes
it
south.
kind of sounds like a porn parody as well.
Fievel goes down.
Okay, anyways. So, after having failed to kill Nellie,
But guess
the
what?
poodle,
Samuel Jackson's still in it.
Yeah.
yeah, the poodle and the cats take Papa, Mama, and Yasha away, which is pretty sad. And this is actually despite threats in all these movies, I would say this is the closest that anyone in the family has come to actually being killed by the cats, because they were like about to put them in their mouths, like.
Yeah, that's true.
Because Papa was kind of like, we're gonna die anyway, let's antagonize our captors.
He's like, yeah, get your filthy cat hands off of me.
And Fievel Goes West doesn't. I mean, he's in that fat cat's mouth. Like, and he's like, should I eat him? Like, no.
yeah.
Like, I could.
Yeah, and
We're always about to die.
John Cleese. He's doing this weird tease thing.
Yeah. So, anyways, they send Tiger to go talk to the dogs. I don't know, but
Tiger has to go get the dogs because he's the fastest.
yeah.
He can go all the way to Central Park and back,
That's right.
and then
There's a
Fievel
big
and
battle.
Tony go
Yeah.
down in the sewers. Yeah,
Fievel
goes down.
electrocutes the poodle.
Fievel goes down.
He straight up electrocutes her, like, which is pretty intense.
Oh yeah, that's true, but it doesn't die.
She doesn't kill.
She doesn't
Yeah. She
It
doesn't
doesn't
die.
It doesn't die. It doesn't
And
die.
the way, once the mice escape from their cat captors, they all swim down into the sewer.
Yeah.
Which, like, do mice swim
Well,
well?
I think they do swim,
Really?
but
Wow, I had no idea.
I thought Tony's idea was really bad because I was like, they're locked in cages, so he turns like some release valve and it starts flooding
He
the sewers.
floods
Yeah.
the whole sewer,
But
yeah.
the mice are all in cages, so I'm like, they're just gonna drown now, right? They can't get out
It's
of the
actually the
cage.
prequel to 47 Meters Down.
Like, you're kind of supposed to believe that they just could have popped out of the cages at any time, but they just didn't because the cats were there.
Well,
Because
right,
as soon
so
as they're
some
like,
of the-
the guards are gone!
You know how
Open the
prisons
cage!
work.
Yeah.
Some of the cages floated, but then there were like 4 cages that were just on the bottom of the sewer.
They just reached
And they
in
had to
and
dive down.
That's a good
pulled them out.
average.
Yeah.
Can't save everybody.
No, they saved them though.
There weren't enough lifeboats.
I was like, how long did they hold their breath? I don't know. It's a mess. But yeah, so they save all the mice, and then there's still a few cats chasing Fievel around, up in the newspaper because they're like chasing him around with the monster or whatever. And Reed and Nellie launch like a grenade
Yes.
out of this crazy pneumatic tube thing that they have. And it blows up. What were they pouring in there? Like lamp oil or something?
I missed that whole part. I have no memory of what you're talking about right now.
What?
No, I have no idea what they're pointing in there. Like,
They're
it's just
dumping.
like-
It looks like they're dumping like red. I don't know, some red liquid into the
Yeah.
pneumatic tube, and then they're like, "Wait for it, and then when the monster's right in front of them, like Reed hits the on button and it launches the tube and it explodes.
I don't know why. I think in my mind I was like, oh, that's
The
probably
monster.
popcorn oil, but like for no reason.
It seemed like it was like lamp oil or
Yeah.
something. But
Ink, maybe? I don't know.
but yeah, so it totally explodes, and you know, this whole time I was like, oh man, the dogs are gonna come and do something awesome. But then the dogs show up just to be like, woof woof, and they chase away like 2 cats, and then
Our job is
yeah,
done
pretty
here.
much.
You're
like,
welcome.
Yeah, we did it. I was like, that was kind of lame.
So, I guess at some point, Reed saved Nellie's life, and so they, like, express their love to each other at the end, and then Tanya is, like,
Yeah, 'cause
heartbroken.
Reed
But it's, like,
jumps-
played for laughs, and, like, she's, like, devastated, and
One
she, like,
last time to kick Tanya
They
to the
show
curb.
her like, yeah, Rita's like, I'm crazy about you, you know, and you like pan to the side, and they show while this conversation is happening, Tanya in the background, like horrified, look like, oh, what's happening?
Yeah, it's so sad. And they're like, oh well, too bad for that. Like, she's a depressed teenager, haha, you know, like, it just,
And
wow.
Fievel goes, I still don't get it. Or something. Because someone's like, is she going to be okay? And he's like, I have no idea. And she's like crying on the ground.
I mean, like, in any other movie, like, to do respect to the character, they would have had her, like, meet a cute boy at the end and have hope, or, like,
Nope.
you know, get together with Tony or
Not
something.
these movies and not Tanya.
Yeah.
Never Tanya.
Tanya is
don't
still
help.
played by Lacey Chabert,
Yeah.
who's Meg, so I guess it just makes sense. But so I guess the message of this one was that Fievel was supposed to embrace his fear, and that sometimes fear is good because it keeps you from doing stupid things.
Yeah,
Which,
and
Which was a lesson that he should have learned in the first movie.
yeah,
So I just didn't understand, like, Fievel having these nightmares and being scared of everything was completely inconsistent to me from the other three movies.
He
because
has The Shining.
what drove him in the other three movies was being stupidly unafraid of everything, especially in that second movie. He wasn't afraid at all when the villains were holding him and threatening to kill him. So it just seemed like such a complete turn that he's now this, like, scaredy
I think like
cat.
he went through all these like horrible situations that finally caught up with him. Like he got a little bit older in this movie, and he's like, man, I've seen some shit.
He
He started freaking out.
He got an
mean,
anxiety
obviously, I'm
because
just making this up.
he didn't feel like any of his actions had consequences because every adventure he went on seemed to magically disappear the next day.
Exactly.
He's like, my actions are meaningless.
So this time he learns to be less reckless, I guess. Tony doesn't really... I mean, Tony has grown. He was not a horn dog at all in this movie. That aspect of his character was completely gone. He never was, like,
no time for
humming on, like, Nelly. He wasn't looking at any
he
girls.
was trying to get those dollar bills.
Yeah, he just wanted to advance his career and instead of, be promoted to reporter instead of newsboy, which was a big change for him.
So Tanya also got fucked over because, like, all she wanted to do was do things with Nelly, and then Fievel gets sent out on all the things.
Yeah, she's like the secretary, basically.
And then she just, like, stays back at the newspaper.
Yeah.
But she's also, like, in love with that guy, so she wanted to
she
be
was
around
his
him.
assistant.
Yeah.
So
It was, yeah.
So,
Oh my
like,
gosh.
Daily.
yeah,
Tiger really
Daily.
was barely in the movie and didn't really do anything of consequence.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, Dom DeLuise had to, like, drive to Burbank for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
to do his role for this movie.
So from the last movie, Philip Glasser, who played Fievel, and Lacey Chabert as Tanya were back. What's-Her-Face was back as Tony's Pony. And then the dad was back, and Dom DeLuise was back. But Mama changed actresses between the third and fourth movie, and, like, in her one scene in the beginning was significantly more, like, using Yiddish euphemisms and, like, just going over the top. So,
I don't even remember what she was saying.
she was saying, like, boobala a lot.
Boobala,
Yeah.
I believe the direction in the booth was, hey, let's really lean into this Jew stuff.
Just really go for it.
Which maybe the previous actress didn't want to do, but this actress had no qualms, so I was like, sure.
Yeah, so we get to the final final scene where we get to see, like, since this is the last film, like, this is where we leave the characters, and they're just, like, out picnicking on the beach. Tanya is still, like, bummed about not having Reed. Fievel is playing with the baby.
Tanya's thinking about a career in nursing now. Her fifth career change.
Yeah.
Where, like, they're all just kind of hanging out. We learn very briefly that, like, the Mount... What is it? Musset?
Madame Musset.
Madame Musset. Right. They like...
they gave her back to her original.
Yeah,
the dog council rules on her fate.
Yeah.
And they're like, we could kill you. But we're going to do the exact same fate that happened to John Cleese's character in the second movie.
We're going to give you back to your original owner. Yeah. And we have this whole long conversation with the humans for a second.
They managed to do it without somebody saying pussy 10 times.
That was nice.
So yeah, for these animals, the fate worse than death is just being... owned by an obese woman. Overly affectionate obese women are the fate worse than death.
The human world.
Yeah. And then the family kind of, like, turns around, and we end on Fievel passed out, dreaming of future sequels.
Dreaming of going west.
Yeah. And then it kind of, like, fades out on the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah, and we all of a sudden bring up the imagery of the Statue of Liberty, which was not shown at all in this movie, barely in the last movie, and we're like, this is the thing we need to show, the Statue of Liberty.
If you look very closely, you can see Henri.
Oh, yeah.
Henri.
Henri?
Oh,
yeah.
Henri.
So that's the last image of the series, you guys.
Yeah.
So
good riddance.
I mean, oh man, it's...
Yeah, so what's everyone's overall thoughts? We've reached the end.
We've reached the end. I think
4 episodes, we've done it.
I'm surprised at how much it kept the themes from the first one over all of them.
Yeah.
I think that I actually might agree that the second one might be the worst one.
You've come around to my side?
Okay.
Yes!
No, I actually like this one better than the last one.
I do too.
Because it was they weren't trying so hard to be like super preachy about like union issues and all this really obvious stuff. This one was kind of just like more of a goofy
It's weird
where
there's a monster. Where it could have been like it had a better encapsulation of what made the first one great.
Yeah,
and kind of still addressed those themes and had better music.
And I think
I take that back. The Treasure of Manhattan is the worst.
Yeah, that one's
but I like that this. I might like this one better than Five Goes West.
I don't know if I would still go 1, 2, 4, 3.
Yeah,
because I think this one had really good character. Like Nellie Marie is a really good new character, and then I like the dog.
Well, and it had a plot that went straight forward and didn't have any weird that person's it didn't have any weird that person's actually this type of animal.
Yeah, I thought for sure because they kept calling that dog a rat. I was like, is it going to be a rat again?
Yeah, we didn't even talk about how dogs make a big return here.
Yeah,
there were no dogs in the previous film.
I wrote down 1, 4, 3, 2 as far the order.
Yikes.
I still think 2 is the worst one out of all of them. It just said nothing to me.
But I think overall, they're interesting in that they do the thing that we loved about the first one is it kind of has this Fable, Brothers Grimm feel to it, but it's an updated American version of that. It had this pageantry and the sea is a demon and this extended stuff, and while still dealing with workhouses and the hardships of the American experience. And I think that what you find is they try to explore those themes across these other movies is that you get into these areas that you have to be sensitive to. And you can see how they've gotten so much better, like films like Moana, or things where they're doing research and actually studying it, where these movies run into their heart's in the right place, where they want to tell an authentic melting pot story, and they think that the multiculturalism is a part of that story, and they on paper feel like that they're executing that. But it's 4 white dudes in a writer's room being the Loch Ness Monster, and
we've moved on from having Scottish characters called Mr. Bagpipes.
Yeah. Yeah. But the heart's in the right place, but the execution of it is just not great.
That's why I'm I can't put these ones above 2 because the animation is just not good.
And it's not. It's not.
But the plot, 2 just had no plot. 2 is
pretty.
Yeah, it's pretty, and it's just a fun kids movie.
No, I just goofy, can't forgive the
nonsense.
No story, no message.
And it has a way better. It's better villain.
Better villain, but probably my favorite villain.
John Cleese is really fun in that movie. Yeah,
man.
His plan makes no fucking sense.
The second one I just did not like at all. But
well, you're wrong.
Yeah.
You know what?
Our listeners, I just read an email from Steve from Michigan. He says,
"Oh my God, that is such a lie."
Number 2 is the best movie.
Listeners, keep your eyes peeled for the Twitter poll where we can all prove Eliz wrong.
Oh my God. Okay, but you can only vote if you watched all 4 of them recently, which will have no votes except for us.
Just tweet all your proof to
Eliz. Everyone's watching along with us. They'll have watched it.
I'm sure they are watching along. So I would have said, I think kind of if we could guess as to what we would have wanted to see in sequels instead of these sequels. If West had been a little bit better and actually had some sort of message, then I would have liked them to continue moving, which I guess is kind of sucks for them, but you could have continued to explore the immigrant or just even the migrants.
5 Go specific.
Migrants.
I was going to say 5 Go surfing.
Yeah. The immigrant or migrant experiences in America instead of just going back to New York and then exploring.
It would have. I was going to say it would have made no sense timeline wise. But what if they would have just moved Fievel and their family up through different historic periods in the U.S. Instead of just staying in this.
No, I agree with that, and I think that interestingly, as much as I don't feel like that any of these movies are essential.
Right.
That's not to say that I wouldn't want to see more movies in this vein. I think that there are stories that you can tell with this kind of blueprint of kind of like what you're saying. You could do it at different times. You could do it with these different themes.
Yeah.
It's not turning a blind eye. Ultimately, I think that's a good thing to kind of some of the darker things in American history. And there are great stories that kids can learn from that will make good children's movies. That being said, that's why the 3 sequels are all frustrating in the same way, and that none of them really do that.
Yeah. I do like, I mean, one of the things that I give Five Goes West over the other ones too is like that at least they continued the story.
Yes.
They didn't just like hit the boop reset button and like send it back to New York for no reason.
That's one of the most egregious sins. Like I'm gonna call that like the Manhattan Island paradox or something like that. But like when they just erase something that happened in the last movie for no fucking reason.
Those people did.
Yeah.
The same
was a
people.
dream. It was not the same people.
Between the third and fourth, it was.
No,
so
we're talking about the third.
Yeah. No, I
the third
know.
one just being like, fuck all that.
That movie didn't
noise.
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and in some articles that I saw before we even started watching these, it said that the third and fourth movie were prequels to Goes West, which I don't think is true, but some people have read it that way.
Yeah, I mean,
I guess.
I wouldn't read it that way if he says
he says verbatim, I had a dream that
No,
moved
I know.
a mile west.
I agree with you. I agree they're not prequels, but some people choose to see it that way because they refuse to believe that 2 was a dream. So, I don't know. Where we kind of fall overall? Does anyone have overall thoughts?
I had fun. I mean, I had fun because I had never seen the final 2 movies.
Yeah, me neither.
I guess I wasn't really expecting much, but they were like, I didn't like them, but they were better than I thought they would be.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of reminded me just more of a TV episode.
They could have been like really bad.
They could have been way worse.
My expectation was for them to throw it out the window, kind of do more down the path of what Five Goes West did, where it just feels like wacky crazy, and really just lose the themes.
It didn't go full Looney Tunes.
And so, like, it is interesting that despite all their failings, they were staying true to the mold of what that first movie was, and what the idea of an American Tale as a franchise could be, to its detriment. Yeah. But I do give it credit. I mean, there's going to be movies that we're going to watch that are going to feel like that they don't even belong in the same franchise together. And all of these absolutely do.
Yeah, and with all the movies, maybe not 2, but with most of them, they're at least trying to say something. Whether you agree with it or not, there's a story and they're saying something. Like, what we get, and this is what Universal was putting out, even on their direct-to-video things at that time. What Universal Animation is doing now, having acquired Illumination, like, I saw Minions, I saw Despicable Me 3, and they were horrible. They said nothing. Fart jokes, Minion things, butts.
Hey,
like,
there's nothing wrong with fart joke movies.
So many
nothing wrong
butts.
with fart joke movies.
That's fine.
But that being said, I did not see it.
Yeah, so, I mean, I recently saw the third Despicable Me, and I was enraged, because that movie just said absolutely nothing. These movies at least try to say something, whether or not you agree or feel they did it effectively. They at least had some ambition, and I have to give them credit for that. I just would rather watch any of these movies than see Despicable Me 3 again.
Oof. I mean, I haven't seen it, so
Yeah.
But I think
this kind of children's entertainment, I just feel, is more valuable than no story.
Yeah, you want those kids to know Mr. Haggis.
Yeah.
And
I still don't think like
Mr. Haggis aside, like the journalism and the investigation.
Mr. Haggis aside. That's my new favorite segue.
The whole thing about facing your fears and
I still think like for this whole thing, like, you don't get anything more out of the sequels than you do out of the first film.
Yes.
No.
If you're going to show your kids or watch it with people, watch the first movie and then stop.
Yeah, and then hit that eject button, go into something else that's quality.
Yeah, the first one is
unless
a classic,
you are
in my
really,
opinion.
really into labor disputes or really, really into journalism, then watch the fourth one.
Or fake towns.
Fake towns or walls.
Or walls.
You like to know how walls work?
If you want to build that wall, watch the fourth
All of them
movie.
do have like some weird steampunky gizmo.
The mice march around with giant
true.
forks as their weapons. I don't really know what that's about.
Although, now that you mentioned that, like, I want to see, like, I would, if they announced right now, they're like, we're doing a story about Reed Daly's time in the Mouse Civil War as a reporter, I'd be like, fuck, I want to see that.
Yeah?
Everyone else is like, what are you talking about? Who's Reed Daly?
He's a mouse who's based off a horrible pun. In a movie that was really made for TV movie that was released in Germany.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember, like, a few years ago when Herman Cain referenced that song from the Pokemon movie?
No.
Okay, anyways, but how great would it be if Donald Trump, like, used the fourth American Tail movie as evidence, like, for the wall?
He's like, you gotta get the facts. He wouldn't. He was like, there wasn't a song in there called "Get the Facts." What are you talking about? As we play the YouTube videos of like, here's the song, Donald.
We should cover that song and then sell it to whoever runs against Donald
I think he was
Trump.
saying, "Get the fox." Like,
Get the fox.
like the car fox.
Do a Show me the car fox.
Show me the car fox.
Oh god. Okay, we should probably end this.
All right, so let's wrap this up.
So we've reached the end of this franchise. Thank you guys for listening. We still haven't decided what we're doing next, but if you guys have any suggestions, shoot us an email at sequelrights@gmail.com.
Yes, you can also like us on Facebook and leave your comments there at facebook.com/sequelrights or at us on Twitter at sequelrights and tell me how wrong I am.
And make
for
sure you
not liking.
Yeah,
Thunder
we'll get
Goes
that poll
West.
up there.
Yeah.
And make sure you guys subscribe on iTunes or wherever you
Wherever podcasts are sold.
wherever you guys
Yeah, rate, review, subscribe. We want to do some thank yous, right?
Oh yeah, we've been forgetting to thank a couple people. The opening music comes from my brother Jordan Camps, and is that it?
I guess so, yeah.
That's
We'd
it.
like to thank you, Jordan.
Yay.
Thanks, Jordan. The music is dope.
All right, thanks, guys. We'll see you at the next one.
Bye.
Bye.